Welcome, you tea freaks. We are here for episode 444.
What's it mean?
I don't know. Probably just that we've done 444 of this. But we are doing some 2009 raw Pu'erh from Yee On, which means it is traditionally stored. This comes in chunks, so it's kind of just a nice way to get like tea that's not very label conscious, and you can just sort of drink.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, who has the secret for slowly, perfectly, immaculately taking off the label on the cake itself? Like mine always just tears when I'm drinking like paper. Someone comment below about how to do it.
I think it depends. The Munghai Tea Factory is pretty, they really get those papers sometimes in there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So doing a nice long rinse here. And so I measured out about 5 grams here, doing 70 milliliter gallon. Yep. This is going to be quite a contrast with the 2022 raw we just had.
Yeah. This smells like something or other that I've been made fun of for.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. But I think the interesting about these teas is even though this tea probably has more foreign flavors to someone that doesn't drink pu'erh or tea, I think for people that have had these sorts of teas, there's a certain comfort in these teas and a certain smoothness.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, at least, this tea I'm almost certain is going to be much easier to drink than the young pu'erh that we just had.
Really nice. It's really interesting when these raws come into the ripe flavor profile a bit, and to smell sort of the aged version of those notes. So I'm talking about is sort of that more of that bark, more of that vanilla or cherry wood, and I'm getting a bit of that on the nose. We'll see how it tastes. Salute. Cheerio.
Yep, cheerio.
Gotcha.
You beat me to it. 13 years old, so yeah, this tea is, it probably smells and tastes a little bit more mature than you would think for 13 years, and that's just given to the storage.
Yeah.
And it'd be really interesting to see what the tea we had previous episode would be like if it had very similar storage to this.
Yeah, really nice. I'm getting actually a fair amount of like charcoal off of this, and a lot of not super strong vegetable patch notes, but definitely some of that.
Yeah, a bit of it. Certainly kind of getting into the garden there, getting a little bit of earth in there. Not as heavy on the ginseng and stuff as you would expect from like a ripe. So that is one difference I do think between the raw and the ripe here. The color it also brews is not quite as dark as those. Of course, it is still quite dark.
I'm going to push this one quite a bit and just get into the sort of thickness that is possible with these teas.
Right.
Even though this tea is only 15 years old, because it's been stored the way it has been, we can push these teas quite a bit, knowing that they're just going to be sweet. I mean, it'd be hard to imagine figuring out how to brew this to make it bitter.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but you'd really have to push it. Unlike this tea, where you really don't have to try very hard to get bitterness.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd have to try not to. I mean, probably reducing water temperature or something like that.
Yeah, and geez, I mean, the color is just night and day different.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Nice amber.
Yeah, amber.
Yum. And these, to me, are, like you said, easy drinking, familiar, cozy. I really do enjoy this palette.
And it's the sort of tea that Yee On specializes in, so if you are curious, if you've never tried this, or if you are a fan of this profile, then definitely check out them. They have a lot of teas in quite a range, and they're one of those vendors that I will wholeheartedly recommend for someone that's like looking to kind of get that a version of that Hong Kong traditional taste.
Nice. With the body on it now. It's still almost light in the actual flavor density itself. The texture, though, I think is a lot silkier and thick now.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
No bitterness, really.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of a interesting sort of like grain yeast flavor coming through this, too.
Yeah. Do you get any mineraliness from this?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting some almost oolong feeling flavors to it. Maybe a little bit of that also reminds me of that kind of charcoal roast.
I mean, if the Rock Liquors Facebook Club wants to sponsor this, I know you've sponsored a lot of Yancha, but, there's more to rock licking than just Wu Yulong.
Yeah, expand your horizons.
Yeah.
Join us. Great aroma in the cup. Do you think... So you and I feel like this tea is really easy to drink. But what about someone who's really new into tea, or like a mom, or someone who's just like, what is this stuff, honey? What do you think?
I think it's very person to person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that this is not a slam dunk on the mom test.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why?
some people will like it just because the flavor profile is very unusual.
Yeah.
And it's very unique and I think foreign to a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it's off-putting or astringent or too intense.
No.
Just that it's just a unique taste.
And I think once people have had enough of these and it becomes more familiar, then it's a very easy thing to have. I think it's just like more because people haven't been exposed to this more than anything.
Yeah. And these are actually like say medium size. Hard to say.
And I mean, like this 2009 Ron Chunk cake too. That basically just means that there's a bunch of different 2009 materials from probably cakes that were just kind of tossed into this. So it's a variety of cakes that have all kind of made this house blend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost evolving into a bit of a plummy nose.
Yeah, I can see it.
Delicate, really nice. This is definitely kind of like fall, early winter and P&W flavors to me. So, cheerio. Ah, man, beautiful liqueur. Just like lovely color.
Ultralight test?
I definitely think so. Yeah. Again, because this tea is something where, second steeping, I was trying to push it.
Yeah.
Not that it's weak, just that it can take it. Something, and I'm going to reheat the water now. Teas like that, where you can just push them to a limit and just continue to add a little bit of water and replace the water that you're drinking out of the cup, really are quite lovely.
Yeah.
So, ultralight test is really kind of grandpa style brewing, and in that end, definitely. It's also nice because it's compacted too, so that is like a good reason for ultralight as opposed to something really fluffy and big.
Yeah.
All right, so fresh, boiling hot water. I'm gonna not fill it up too much so I don't burn myself.
Yep.
And how many grams did you use on this guy?
5 grams.
Okay.
So, So this actually I used less for this. So
wow.
I mean,
tells
you something.
And I mean, the guy one is not completely full. The actual quantity against, because it's soaked up quite a bit of volume of actual liqueur we're getting is pretty small. Definitely kind of a small gathering type tea. Yeah,
and I would say that a tea like this too is very, very kind of simpatico with the season that we're in. Mm-hmm. It has like, it's just I'm not going to say it's like mossy, but it kind of fits that sort of like weather and mood that we get here in the Pacific Northwest of like kind of this earthy, mossy, tree-wooded leaves falling from the sky. It's very much kind of in line with that. Yeah. Whereas like I think this Pu'erh tea might be more summer, perhaps.
Yeah. Totally, yeah. And it's not that it tastes overly fermented or anything like that, or mushroomy or funky. It's just that the actual profile of flavors itself, I think, lends itself well to these sorts of weathers and seasons.
Yeah, it's very cozy.
Yeah. And the sweetness on it is interesting. It's not saccharine sweet. To me, it has almost a sassafras, molassesy kind of dark bark herbal sweetness to it.
The sassafras is back.
Yes, sir.
If you know what the hell that word means, comment below.
Cheerio.
Cheers to that. Yeah, it's so consistent. It's like you could brew it for however long you want.
Yeah.
And, thickness goes up and down, but it's always pretty smooth.
I like it, yeah. Maybe a hint of menthol, just at the very front of it. I'm getting a lot of minerals out of this as well. It's really nice and enjoyable. I think this steeping we pushed it is the most it's been like maybe a little bitter on the aftertaste. But almost like in the same way that dark chocolate is bitter, it's like hardly bitter, at least to me. It depends on the chocolate.
Depends. Yeah, that does depend. But it just hints at it. And, I do think you could tell this tea is raw. But, it's one of those that is brewing a color that looks almost ripe and stuff like that.
Totally, yeah. I think ripe just, unfortunately, doesn't have the diversity of flavors that we're tasting in something like this. Right. So for an experienced drinker who has had a lot of ripes, unfortunately, I mean, for me, it's easy drinking. It's my first cup of the day. It's because it's just standardized.
Same for me, yeah.
Yeah, hard to find a lot of variety. And we've been fortunate to bring on quite some very unique ripe Pu'erh on the show. But yeah, and we'll push this one more time pretty hard here. I'd say that, I mean, this is really enjoyable. And pricing wise, is this crazy?
I don't remember, but I don't think so. I mean, one nice thing about buying things and kind of like this chunks and stuff like that is they tend to be pretty affordable. Yep. I mean, it's clearly intended for drinking rather than collecting. Right. Unless you are that much of a weirdo that you're like, I'm going to collect 2009 Yee On chunks. I have the chunks from every year. It's like, I can't speak towards that person, but, this is, I would suspect a pretty reasonable option. I have enjoyed their chunks of a couple other years too, including they do ripe chunks and things like that, and those tend to be quite good value for the money. Right,
and this might be a great introduction to aged Pu'erh to really enjoy some of these notes. This isn't necessarily representative of the whole category. It's a very big category with lots of different established flavors, but this might be something that you can really taste the red age on this.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to do sort of a crash course in how tea ages and evolves, you certainly need to get something in this. Yeah. You should also try stuff that's a little more dryly stored, so like kunming stored perhaps, and then stuff that's also kind of in between. But I do think this represents a certain spectrum, and you and I both like this.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, the beauty of having something stored in such a wet environment is that it can be housed for a lot less time and still be aged in the same or similar way. It might have a bit more funk, it might have a bit more mushroom, a bit more basement, but usually one rinse and that's gone, if at all, and I'm not really getting any of that in this. So
No.
Really enjoyable.
Perfectly clean for me.
How do people find this tea?
Yeah, go to Yee On Tea Company. Just Google them. They are based in Hong Kong, so they have all kinds of tea. So definitely the place that I recommend as being an accessible place that you can order from online and just sort of sample all of the different teas that they do have. Definitely check that out. And then you can also check us out at tdb.org. Subscribe to the channel. Have your mom subscribe to the channel. Have your cat subscribe to the channel. Have your cat's grandma subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe your beet cans to the channel.
Oh, yeah. Beet lovers. We have not forgot about you. Rock lickers, also, super friendly with the show. Love those people.
Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you want. Oh, wait, you can't. Ha! Or can you? I don't even know.
I don't remember.
Whatever.
If we watch this video, it's going to get like 25 dislikes or something.
But yes, it's tasty. I'm just enjoying the residual aged sawdust vibes of this tea.
Pencil shavings?
I didn't say it. But... Alright, we'll see you guys next time.
Cheerio!